Hey guys, guess who I have on the channel today? It's Dahlia. She's back finally. And since we're both into patchouli, we're doing a video today comparing the Jusbox 54 fragrance I collaborated on with other patchouli fragrances. So we're going to let you know how Jusbox 54 compares to other more popular fragrances that she and I have spoken about. So if you're curious to learn about 54 and how it compares to the other fragrances, then please stay tuned. How are you guys doing today? How are you?
I'm fine. I don't think they can tell you how they're doing, though.
You can add a comment, can't you guys?
Yes, actually.
Add a comment and let us know how you're doing. Also, let us know if you've gotten your nose on 54 yet. Jusbox 54. Dahlia enjoys it, and obvious because she loves patchouli, and I'm a patchouli lover as well. And we speak about patchouli all the time on this channel. And so we're going to talk to you about how the comparison is with other patchouli fragrances.
It's a question that I got when I first started, when you launched this and when we talked about it on my Instagram and had that lovely interview. That was one of the questions that I got is, how does this compare with this patchouli? And how does it compare with this patchouli? And it's kind of hard to answer. So I'm really glad we're doing this. It seems like a question people have, since this isn't just patchouli, but it has a strong patchouli base.
So we've got Davana in here. We've got Pina Colada, vanilla, chocolate, cinnamon, rum, sandalwood, cardamom, tobacco. And of course, the main note is patchouli. It's a creamy consistency. The fragrance, when it dries down, turns to milk chocolate on my skin. So slightly gourmandesque. I wouldn't call this a full-on gourmand because the patchouli dominates quite a bit, but it does have gourmand touches.
Yeah, but I can handle it.
Yeah, it's the kind of gourmand that Dahlia handles because you don't really typically like.
I don't like when it's full dessert. This has, you definitely get the pina colada quality. You get the chocolate, you get the vanilla. I think you even get the cardamom. But,
yeah.
But you don't get a dessert. And that's kind of where the line is for me, I've realized, is when it's like food, I'm kind of,
Well, so we have told them what Jusbox 54 smells like. Now let's compare it to JOVOY's Psychedelique.
I do declare this is your favorite patchouli. It has been on the top of several lists we've done.
So even though this is chocolate cakey, there's no gourmand notes. It's more ambers and vanillic resinous notes. This to me is full-on earthy patchouli.
It is, but it's got a boozy quality that is where I would say it overlaps.
That's
in that the patchouli you used, or you and Jusbox used in 54, has that kind of like aged in a barrel cask, whatever they're called, like bourbon quality to it.
Yeah.
And the Psychedelique patchouli also definitely has that kind of like boozy quality to the patchouli, which I like.
You like boozy fragrances?
A lot of the times, yes. I think it kind of depends on the booze. I do occasionally like the kind of gin and tonic fragrances. I've liked some of the champagne fragrances I've smelled. You know, I don't always like the smoky sort of mezcal quality, but I like this bourbony kind of
spirit.
Yes.
Yeah, Psychedelique is definitely my favorite if you're looking for not a lot of other things happening, because the Jusbox 54 does have all of the other stuff, the creaminess, the chocolatiness, and all that good stuff, the spices like cinnamon. So we're going to talk about Patchouli Intense from the House of Parfums and NICOLAI next.
I'm so interested to smell these side by side because I really do not know how these are gonna...
This is so different.
It's so different.
So different. This is like a green forest, aromatic, spicy green forest. Nothing like patchouli in Jusbox 54. Even nothing like Psychedelique.
Agree. This one, the geranium is super, super predominant for me. It's very like, this is a longtime favorite of mine. The patchouli is...
it's quite green.
It is very green, but it's like roll around in an herbaceous garden. It's very aromatic. Very, very, very.
I always envision it as a overgrowth of aromatics, and you're like walking through it and you're smelling. As you're walking through it, you can smell the fragrance from the aromatics that are overgrown.
Yeah, but it's got a little raciness to it. I don't think you're just walking through that garden.
Oh, there's rolling around going on?
Most definitely. This is a favorite of mine for summer. I would say it does not compare very much to 54.
No.
54 is like a wood paneled library with old books and like a rager going on outside, and like, you know, one of those glasses with the snifter, something like that.
Yeah.
And this one is like, as mentioned, sassy time in an aromatic.
I don't envision the sassy time like you say, but I guess I can visualize that. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Diptyque's Tempo. Another greenish patchouli, but I would say this is more like Psychedelique and 54 versus like Nicolai's Patchouli Intense. But still going on the green peppery side.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of pepper in this.
Yeah, it's
I don't
quite...
think I ever noticed that. Maybe it's because you just said it, but it just like...
Woo! Hit you in your face?
I would say the pepper quality, the way the pepper plays here is similar to the Nicolai.
Yeah, I
That
think so.
brightness.
The
it
geranium gives it a
Mm-hmm.
peppery edge to the Nicolai, and I think the pepperiness from the Tempo is similar to the pepperiness in Nicolai.
Yeah, and there's the sage in this one and the violet leaf, which kind of give it more greenery.
Yeah. But the thing is, the Patchouli in Tempo is more like the Psychedelic in 54, but the Patchouli Intense, I don't really get a patchouli experience like the patchouli in the other patchouli fragrances. I mean, the Nicolai is what I'm saying.
Yeah, the Nicolai one, the patchouli is more of an anchor for all of the gorgeous aromatics. And in Tempo, I think after the greens kind of take a step back, you're left with a really glorious kind of deep patchouli.
Yeah. All right, going to the House of Reminiscence. This is patchouli in the new bottle. Have you tried this?
The new bottle.
So according to the brand, it's not been reformulated. So this to me is a very early patchouli fragrance dating back to 1970 or early 70s. This to me also reminds me of the Psychedelique from JOVOY. But there's differences, right?
The one I have is in the star bottle, so I can tell you if it's been reformulated or not. But mine's older too, so that's not fair to compare it because this has more, it has more alcohol, it feels like, than...
So yours is macerated and maturated.
Mine is like chocolate cake.
How old is your bottle?
Ooh,
It's quite old, right?
years.
Years.
Maybe not.
Because they haven't made the star bottles for a good 8 years, I think.
I was going to say 10 years, but then I felt old, so I didn't want to say it. Okay, so mine is like chocolate cake from a very high-end, like Austrian bakery.
So I think this is younger. It hasn't macerated yet. To me, it does smell like it. It just doesn't have that depth.
It's, yes.
It doesn't have the depth. It's lighter and more fleeting kind of as a smell.
Yeah, mine has like, you know, the sticky cap, the sticky bottle.
Oh.
Nozzle, that's the word.
The nozzle.
Noselage.
Nozzleage.
But anyway, the point of this is how it compares to 54.
So I got to smell the original patchouli that's in 54. It smells more like the patchouli that's here. Very earthy and slight chocolate amber edges thrown in as well. But we've put so much onto the 54 that it became creamy, chocolatey, spicy, boozy, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So moving on to the House of Chanel, it's Coromandel. So Coromandel is definitely a favorite of the Les Exclusives collection from Chanel. And this is kind of a similar idea, not boozy, but chocolatey, but in this case, white chocolatey. But there's no white chocolate note thrown in. I think it's the benzoin note in here that's creating that vanillic white chocolatey effect. It's really yummy. It's creamy, smooth, not dark chocolate, more like a creamy edge with a earthy patchouli.
It's a lot brighter, it's a lot fresher than 54. 54 is like glamorous. And this is beautiful, but it's more on the fresh side. And I know this is a lot of people's favorite, but it's not the kind of patchouli that freaks people out. It's not patchouli used in a way that's like Mick Jagger swagger with, you know, the velvet suit and the like rouflage. It's like clean and fresh and pretty. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But 54 is a little dirtier.
Okay.
In a great way.
I like that. All right, next it's Patchouli Paris from the House of Guerlain. A newer fragrance. This launched around the same time that 54 launched. And this is an aldehydic take on patchouli. What are your thoughts? It doesn't have that depth I wanted. It seems a bit on the light side.
It's barely there.
Have our noses been shot with too much
No,
patchouli?
I just get more... aldehydes can be overpowering and can kind of soapify everything else for me.
I can see that.
It's like the only thing I can think of off the top of my head that's aldehydes, that's like distinctively aldehydes and something is Rien or Rien Intense Incense. Incense Intense.
Intense incense, yeah.
Whatever,
Yeah.
from Eta Libra. Like
Yeah.
that one balances the incense and the aldehydes so that it's not just aldehydes. But for the most part, when something has aldehydes, it's kind of hard for me to notice. But I get the patchouli after the aldehydes,
Fizzles away a little bit.
whatever the word is, dissipate. And it's a lovely patchouli. It's very much on the designer kind of side of patchouli where it's like cleaner.
Like
and
the Chanel, right? All right, next going to the house of Quinto Canto. It's Mea Culpa. And if you want to learn more about this, Dahlia and I have a video review of this shot during COVID times. I think we were shooting on Zoom or something.
Sounds about right. I have this one. I like this one.
This one's kind of in the ballpark of Reminiscence and Psychedelique, right?
This has more of a bitter quality to it.
I get boozy.
But it's not like as...
I can see the bitterness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see it.
But I like a bitter quality in fragrance. I think it adds balance when there's like... and this it makes this one a little more stern.
Colder, right?
Yeah, I could go with that.
It's a bit colder.
But it's not Mick Jagger rock and roll. It's yes, it's a little more stern, a little more like
it's not as inviting because warmth invites me to enjoy fragrances more.
I will say that the Patchouli in 54 maybe is the most similar to Mea Culpa.
Really?
Don't you think? Because of the way the other notes play with it, it's got that kind of it's not, mind you, 54 is not stern or austere or cold, but the Patchouli specifically has a kind of...
Well, you're right, because when I smell the ingredient on its own, it's quite stern, quite cold, austere.
Maybe it's the birch that's adding the bitterness to the Mea Culpa, because that can be kind of an acerbic sort of...
Could be.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on.
All right, guys. Next up, going to the house of Maître Parfumeur Gantier. It's Patchouli 1969, another fragrance that you and I have reviewed on the channel, but in person, not via Zoom. What do you think of this one? This one you consider a bit on the animalic side, I think, right?
I do. There's a musk in this one that is on the line for me. This is the most, not the most, but it is, I would say, it is a good name for this one because it does have a kind of hippie quality to it, even though it's more glamorous, but it's got a lot of musk.
See, this one doesn't smell as chocolatey to me. And even though there's no chocolate in the Psychedelique or the Reminiscence, I get a more of a chocolatey edge from them.
It's earthy.
This is more earthy. Yeah.
Whereas the one that you have in
54
is more on the boozy side with chocolate.
With chocolate, yeah.
And then this is more on the earthy side with musk.
Musk, yeah.
So not that similar, really. Although both 54 and the Maître
Parfumeur Gantier?
Both of them could be worn by Mick Jagger.
Oh.
That's going to be my... That's where we're drawing the line here in this video. I have just decided. Please feel free to, like, reject this idea. But
Mick Jagger, huh?
Would Mick Jagger wear it?
Moves like Jagger? All right, next going to the house of Francesca Bianchi. It's Sticky Fingers. What are your thoughts on this one?
Mick Jagger would wear that one.
Really?
I mean, look at the name.
Hello.
Super inspo by the...
This one definitely is a patchouli with the magic touch of Francesca Bianchi. Her DNA is all over it. Don't you think?
I think the tobacco has overlap with 54. I would say the sandalwood gives it warmth like you get in 54.
Okay.
But I agree. Sticky Fingers is, it has that kind of buttery iris in the base.
That is very prominent. Very buttery,
but yours,
powdery.
But your 54 has like a vanilla and this has a tonka. So they're not, they're not the same. They're not dupes by any stretch of the imagination, but this is one of the ones that's more similar to 54 than like Coromandel, for example, which isn't...
Oh, I disagree. I think Coromandel is closer to me than this.
It's so fresh.
This just doesn't smell anything like 54 to me whatsoever.
It has...
Even the patchouli is covered up with the Francesca Bianchi DNA. That orris kind of takes over. I don't know. There are light hints of it. It's a patchouli after all. I don't get the connection.
It's the warm woods and the vanilla-y, tobacco-y, but they're not dupes, but they might be distant relatives.
Okay. Next, going to the house of Tiziana Terenzi, it's Ursa.
Ursa.
This is one that I've recommended quite a bit. It's patchouli with a lot of other things going on, and it's also boozy and fruity, and we've got that in 54.
Yeah, the dried fruits come through in 54 on me.
What do you think?
Yeah, this would be in that closer for me.
Yeah, it's kind of getting there.
It doesn't have the same oomph that 54 does, where you have that really high concentration of the extrait in the 54. This one's a little lighter, but the fruit has an overlap and the patchouli has an overlap.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
You think the 54 is stronger than the Ursa?
Yes.
Because the Ursa is higher concentrated than the 54.
I haven't worn Ursa personally, but I know that 54 is like...
Is it beast mode?
very almost beast mode, but I spray like once and you spray like 14 times. So
I've gone through 4 bottles.
yes, I know all about you and your situation with the sprayage, but for me, like one spray is like 24 hours, which I mean that's pretty beast.
Wow.
And it's like if
Okay.
it's on a sweater or a scarf or something, it's like forget it until you wash it.
Wow. Okay. That's a good thing.
Powerful.
So we're going to the house of Panouge, and this is Patchouli Fig, and this is also a fruity take on.
Different fruit though. Fig plays differently than the kind of berries that or the dried fruit that you guys have in the 54 and Ursa. This is like fresher though.
Yeah, it is fresher. You're right. I think the fig fruit adds a fresher layer to the fragrance.
Yeah, there's something like
It brightens it up.
fig for me, like I can't get away from the association of like fabulous French person, like high-end laundry.
Oh, I like that.
That is my association. Like the what's it from Parisian Musk from what's it? The
Matière Première.
them. That is like chic laundry detergent.
Okay, I like laundry
Very.
detergent.
I mean, this is not Tide. This is not Game. This is like something
$50 bottle of laundry detergent.
100.
All right, going to the house of I Profumi di Firenze. This is patchouli. I'm at the very bottom of this bottle I've had for a long time. I need a new one. This is one that we featured in our very first patchouli video. And we
years ago.
That was like 2017. And we agreed that this is extremely woody, dark and cold and slightly metallic.
Oh, this is so cold.
Yeah, it's very cold.
So pretty though, and it's got this like frozen fairy forest kind of quality to it.
It's dark and it's
I
foggy.
think it's the conifers. There's some sort of piney kind of like.
There's coniferous woods notes,
This
cedar
is
wood.
the coldest one. I'm sorry I interrupted you. That was so
No, go-
rude. But
go
this
ahead.
is colder than Mea Culpa. This is colder
Extremely cold.
than
Yeah,
Icy.
it adds a very sharp edge to the fragrance.
I don't think it's that similar to 54,
No,
but the patchouli is a similar kind of. I don't know.
I agree that patchouli is similar because I've already smelled the patchouli in 54. It's kind of cold. It's extremely cold.
Yeah, it's a similar patchouli, but the things that are mixed in are so different.
Yeah. There's a lot of warmth in 54, and that one doesn't have any warmth. So we've got L'Enerides Patchouli Antique next.
I have this one, but again, a very different bottle.
This brand has changed this fragrance up like 12,000 times. I mean, it's just confusing. This has ambery, doughy qualities.
Doughy. Oh, yeah, that doesn't smell like mine.
Yeah, they're different.
It's not.
It's
the
been
same.
reformulated like 1,000 times, and recently somebody.
This is like almost sour.
There's a little sourness
Maybe
with
is that what you meant
54.
by doughy, like in that yeasty kind of like?
Yeah, I think there's a yeasty quality, but it's changing.
Yeah, that's.
I got that during the pandemic when they had a promotion on the L'Enerides website.
I mean, it's a pretty presentation.
Yeah.
Mine smells more like boozy than this does. But yeah, that I know what you now. I know what you mean by doughy. It's like yeasty.
Yeasty, yeah. But that, I think, if you take away the patchouli, then it starts reminding you of 54. But that doesn't have a lot of boozy. It doesn't have a lot of cinnamony kind of.
I have to disagree. It doesn't remind me of 54.
Did I say it reminded me of 54?
Oh, I thought that's what you said.
Well, if I did say it reminded me of 54, no, it doesn't remind me of 54. But maybe the patchouli's earthiness, but that's about it. Next, we're talking about patchouli from Santa Maria Novella. The reformulated version, I know Dahlia says hers is much darker juice. This is getting dark, guys.
Mine's the color of psychedelic, though.
This is very earthy, also hardly gourmand. It's a bit rosy and also woody. It's different than yours, right? I think maybe the patchouli might get close, but we're talking about totally different. It's a very woody experience.
This is much closer to the L'Enerides.
I thought it was much closer to the I Profumi di Firenze.
It's cold like that.
Yeah, it's cold, yeah. Not warm a lot.
But it doesn't have the boozy kind of chocolatey kind of like the OG Reminiscence and the L'Enerides Patchouli Antique that I have, as well as the Santa Maria Novella, are like brown. They're almost the color of patchouli oil that you get from like a health food store. And they have that kind of like resin on the sprayer because the concentration of oil is so high. And they both have like a boozy kind of chocolatey depth that these ones just don't have. Maybe they haven't aged yet.
I think they're aging. If they claim that the formulation's the same, then I think it's a matter of aging. But I personally think the L'Enerides has changed. As far as smell goes and formula, they did. And probably the Patchouli from Santa Maria Novella changed as well.
It's absolutely not anywhere near that color.
Anyway, so the last fragrance we're going to talk to you about is Patchouli Mania, which also uses Davana, similar to the Davana in 54. Let's see if we find any similarities with this and 54. There's a slight fruitiness there. That's good. Have you guys compared these two? What do you think?
This is like if you had an eau de toilette of 54 and yours was the eau de parfum.
Oh, okay.
It would be, I could totally see that being like a release kind of a thing, like a choice. Like this would be for daytime and 54 would be for nighttime.
I can see that. I think it's just the fruitiness and also the fruitiness from the Davana and the Patchouli is what's reminding me of
The
54.
cacao, the chocolate kind of.
Yeah, there's a little cacao in there. I like both. They're so different, but yet patchouli focused. And that's pretty much all we have for you guys today. Let us know what your thoughts are on 54.
Did you show them that there's a 54 on the side?
Yeah, I've shown them.
You have to make sure they know that there's a record on the top too.
Oh, yeah, there's a record on the top. That is how the record looks on 54, or actually all of Jusbox's bottles. Music-inspired brand. Anyway, guys, let us know what your thoughts are on these fragrances. Let me know if you've sampled 54. Let us know if you've compared to these fragrances or any other patchouli fragrances. If you've compared to something that we haven't discussed today, let us know what it is. Add a comment below. And thanks so much for you to come by. And if you haven't been following Dahlia, go follow her at the Perfumed Dahlia on Instagram. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one.
Bye.